Trevoh Chalobah is now being linked with a move to West Ham, with Kurt Zouma's imminent departure. May have already departed by the time this video goes out, but it looks like we are going to be bringing in another centre-back and pretty fast. And Chalobah's the latest name to be linked. This coming out from Darmesh saying that Chalobah is one of the defenders being looked at by West Ham if they sell Kurt Zouma. And he also mentioned the others like Omar Sole from Salzburg and Fabrizio Bruno of Flamengo, who we almost got over the line a couple of months ago, but that then collapsed. So Chalobah's next in line. It's been a link. We've been linked with Chalobah before. It's now circulating background. It's now officially been announced that Chalobah won't be part of Chelsea's squad. He's been left behind for pre-season. They're actively looking to sell him. So now is probably the best time or best chance we're going to have to bring him into West Ham. And I know other clubs like Crystal Palace are interested, but if you aren't aware of who Trevoh Chalobah is, this is a slight overview for you. So 6'4", English, right-footed centre-back, can play right-back as well. His contract expires in June 2028, and he has an estimated value on Transfermarkt of around 13 million euros, but it's likely to be a little bit higher than that because of the inflated cost of English Premier League footballers. But Sloth, what's your thoughts on the links to Trevoh Chalobah to come in to replace Zouma?
I think it's definitely an upgrade in terms of fitness, for one thing, and that's even with Chalobah's sort of concerning injury record. But I think in terms of him as a football player, he's a very good player. You know, he is composed on the ball. He's incredibly athletic. As we mentioned, you know, he's a physical powerhouse, and he uses his sort of height and his long limbs to really maximize that. He is someone who will stick out a limb and win a ball, get you back on it and be able to carry it while creating options for himself. And he has the ability on the ball, the passing range to find players around him. So, you know, it's a very, very good option. I think in terms of looking at where we were last season, and if you think this is someone who's coming in and potentially challenging Mavropanos for that spot, I think it's a very good buy. I just question his overall fitness and injuries. That's my big worry.
Yeah, I mean, last season he missed 6 games to injury. The season before that it was 26 games. So, as you say, he has got a little bit of an injury record behind him, mainly through thigh problems. And last season it was fitness related. But again, the lack of minutes last season is maybe what's slightly concerning. But again, it's probably why Chelsea want to offload him, because he's clearly not part of their plans at all. Yeah, he played 1,660 minutes last season in the Premier League, which isn't a lot at all. And when we look at his stats breakdown, again, it's kind of the data's slightly skewed because of his lack of minutes against other centre-backs in the top 5 European leagues. But here's an overview of how he performed in terms of the metrics. And again, I think with Chalobah, this data is going to be less important visually because we know what type of player Chalobah is. But again, I think we can pay attention to the likes of the passes per 90. Again, the way Chelsea played, you would expect him to have a high percentile there. Accurate pass percentage, he's quite high up in the 74th percentile. Forward passes, accurate forward passes. So again, he's someone that does offer that technical aspect that Julian Lopetegui is looking for. And I think his reading of the game is quite good, and he is an intelligent footballer, and it's the reason why he's been able to be quite a versatile option for Chelsea, whether that's in a back 3, whether that's in a back 4, whether he's playing right back, centre back. I think it makes it a very good option to have if he can kind of put those injury issues aside. For the price that's being quoted, it's probably going to cost, I know Transfermarkt's values it in 13 million euros. It will be more than that if we can get, because his contract doesn't expire until 2028. We're probably looking at around a probably 20 million pound deal if there was to get over the line. Do you think that's good value for money?
I think we're probably looking more about 25 million. You know, we there's one thing that you know about Chelsea is that they tend to sell players very well.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much the timing of when they sell them in the past, but I think their academy players in particular, they sell very strongly. And I would be surprised if we get him for under 20 million pounds. I'd be very surprised. I think if you could get him for that, I'd be very happy with it. It's you know, the kind of money that you don't really worry too much about. And I think you can still go out, and if you're looking at 25 million pounds as a sum, you can go out and try and look at someone from the French league with the change you've got left over. But 25 million pounds, I think there's as I've said many times, I think there's a lot of quality in the centre back position. And I just worry that you could use that towards someone like Danso, who doesn't have the injury worries and, you know, has the same sort of physicality, maybe not so much of the ball carrying, but he is a very, very strong overall defender. And I think that 25 million pounds kind of makes me a bit concerned. If you're talking 15 million pounds, 100% bring him in. And I think that that's a fantastic signing. But I'd be very surprised if Chelsea let him go for that.
I'm also not entirely sure what Chalobah's wages are currently, but Zouma was on quite a high wage package between like 100 and 120,000 pounds a week. And, you know, now that's going to be offset. We do have funds freed up to bring in a centre back. I think there are rumours that we might want to be bringing in 2 centre backs, so we may make a purchase and a loan with an option to buy. Chalobah would be maybe a potential loan with option to buy as well. So there is that route in if we don't want to pay the lump sum of around 20, 25 million. But I think for me, if you're looking at a player profile, he's 6'4". He's a ball playing centre back. He offers a lot more balance to that right side of the defence. If he was partnering Kilman, for example, he's got the physical dominance as well. And technically, he would fit into that Lopetegui system really, really well and be a massive upgrade on what we had with Zouma. So for me, personnel-wise, I like the link. I do like the link to Chalobah, and he's homegrown as well, which also contributes. So I think for 25 million, like you say, because of that injury record, it is pushing it slightly. But Chelsea have made it very, very clear that they want to sell. They've played their cards very early. It's not like they're trying to just, you know, get rid of Conor Gallagher for, you know, whatever he went for to Atletico Madrid. They've played their hand. We know that they want to sell him. We know that he's surplus to requirements. So I think we might be able to pick him up for around 20 million, which for me, I think I would probably take a gamble on. This video is sponsored by Emotive. Emotive provide cutting-edge digital services, solutions, and training to companies and businesses of all sizes. Emotive have worked with some fantastic brands in the past, as you can see behind me, the likes of Apple, Google, Tesco, and of course, Babylon Irons. Emotive offer 4 key services, the first being digital solutions, the second being professional training and coaching, the third being fractional experts, and the fourth being AI readiness. We're going to be working with Emotive on our channel to improve how we showcase the data to you guys in our breakdown videos and data analysis videos. If you want to find out more information about how Emotive can work with you, make sure to scan the QR code now, which will take you to emotivetouch.com, where you can find out more details about the company, and the link will be in the description. A massive thank you to Emotive once again for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it.
I think it's very risky to assume anything with Chelsea because they are more than happy to hoard every single player they have. And, you know, these FFP restrictions mean nothing to them. You know, they can sell off a hotel. They sold it to themselves and they have all these assets, all these things that they can do and bend the rules of FFP. And that's not me being negative. It's a fantastic, you know, strategy if you can do it in the fact that if you can cook the books like that, then you can make it work for yourself. But I think that Chelsea are a complete and utter cluster at the moment. and I think that if we were to look at capitalizing on that cluster, you could maybe be looking at targeting the French players who I will feel a certain kind of way about Chelsea's decision making, not just in their recruitment, to constantly, you know, add competition into the positions that they're in, but also the decision to make Enzo Fernandez vice captain, which I think, you know, you've got to talk about it because it's got wider implications even for people like Chalobah. You know, it's an incredibly odd decision, and the anger in that team and dressing room is going to be spread. So I would be very surprised if players don't try and force their way out of Chelsea. It's something that, while they are more than happy to burn money and just keep shoveling it onto the fire, I think we've got to go with a sensible offer. And if we're looking at installments, you know, say to them, we'll give you £8 million up front, and this is the, this is going to be the instalment plan. I think that'd tempt them, but I think a loan to buy would maybe be a bit of a stretch too far.
Do you think that because of, like, just looking at it from a personnel perspective, Chalobah has that flexibility to work in a back three, a back four? He can play right back as well if needed. So he has that kind of adaptation to his game. Do you think that's maybe favouring him over some other links we've got to a more traditional centre backs and don't have that flexibility?
I think so, and I think that we're also forgetting that he could play central defensive mid. He did so for 10 or 12 games at Lorient while he was there on loan. And when you factor in that with Mavropanos, who can also do the same thing, two incredibly versatile players, I think that makes it it makes it very tempting for Lopetegui. So it's definitely one that I think if you can get it at the right price, you move for and you get it done quickly. But you do have to ask a few questions and I would be worried if he was the only player we bought in at centre back.
I really like the move. I would really like to see Chalobah at West Ham. I know there are other options out there, and there's probably better options if we can get them over the line. And as you say, it is a little bit of a risk for 20 to 25 million pounds on someone that could be in and out of the squad due to injury. It is a risk. I'm sure the recruitment team will be assessing that risk and weighing up their options, but I'm pretty sure Chalobah's now edging closer to the top of the list of centre-back candidates that we're looking at. No doubt we've got bids in and inquiries and talks with loads of different centre-backs now, that because Zouma's been pushed out, so there's clearly going to be movement behind the scenes pretty quickly. I'll be surprised if after the pre-season game at the weekend against Celta Vigo, we haven't seen something more concrete over the next few days, especially going into next week. I think we will have more of a definitive answer as to what direction we're going in with centre-back. But Trevoh Chalobah, if he was to come in for around 20, 25 million pound slough, what would you rate that transfer out of 10?
I think if you get a fully fit Trevoh Chalobah, you're looking at an 8. I think I'm just going to bump it down to a 7 just because of the question marks over his fitness. I think he's a fantastic player. And as I said, if you get a fully fit Trevoh Chalobah, then you're looking at a fantastic centre-back. It's just the injury question marks and that fitness that kind of just knock it down a little bit for me.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I probably agree with that. Again, if you're looking at it just from the player and how he would fit into Lopetegui's system as well, I think that's also something that's quite important. He fits right in. He would be a fantastic addition. And, I didn't realize he was 6'4" until we did the analysis. So definitely a physical unit at the back as well. But yeah, let us know in the comments down below. Would you like to see Trevoh Chalobah come in to replace Kurt Zouma at West Ham this summer? The clock's ticking, Sloth. We need to bring in a centre-back, probably 2 centre-backs before the end of this transfer window. So hopefully we can get them over the line. And yeah, as I said, I think within the next few days, we'll know a lot more about who we're going to be bringing in at centre-back. But if you enjoyed the breakdown, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and Sloth, until the next one.
Come on, you Irons.